Be advised, control blast in 1 minute.
Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole!
It was a busy year. 2004 and 2005 was a busy year in Iraq for us as an infantry company on the ground. And so we just felt really fortunate. We wanted to keep that tie there, keep that bond.
They came together as a unit on the deserts of Iraq, but they stayed together as a unit thanks to a game whose roots go back to the days of the Celtic warriors.
Something with that resonated with us being soldiers, and it made it easier kind of to hook guys into coming and trying it out. It was kind of the gut check. You know, you say, this is a warrior sport. Are you a warrior or not?
Go on, Larry, go on! Go on! Go on!
It became the unlikely story of how a group of soldiers from one unit in the National Guard changed uniforms, picked up their new weapons, and brought a bit of Ireland to Concord, New Hampshire.
Nobody else plays it. So, you know, pretty much any of us on the team can at any point say we're among the 10 best hurlers, you know, in New Hampshire, and we're not lying.
Respect those guys that are going overseas by kicking some serious ass on Saturday.
Wolves!
Low there at Commons, two formed parties stand. Each grasps the bended weapon in his hand. Then near each other in the ground are fixed, two sticks at each end, some score yards betwixt. Through one of which the wooden ball must run before the game is either lost or won. And now the ball flies swift across the ground. Now o'er their heads, behold it lightly bound, anon it falls. The ready heroes near, oft intercept it in its quick career.
Concord, New Hampshire is home to Charlie Company, 3rd of the 172nd Mountain Infantry of the New Hampshire National Guard. As the crow flies, it is literally thousands of miles away from the rolling and preternaturally green fields of Ireland. But for one group of soldiers, that distance has faded to zero, thanks to the most remote of locations and the most unusual of sports.
Throughout the year, Charlie Company has received 12 Purple Hearts, of which nine guys were returned to duty. They were okay, you know, slight wounds, and were able to go right back to work. 3 of the folks actually had to be evacuated, you know, back to the States so that they could heal up and get better. And all of them are doing fine. You know, everyone's getting back in shape, and just take a little bit of time. For me, it's been very rewarding to be able to see the work that the company's done and what all these guys have accomplished throughout the year out there. And you really see it with the local people. And just to be able to be a part of that with this group of guys has been great for me.
When their tour of duty was over in 2005, they left the battlefield and stopped once again to refuel before the last leg home.
Good morning. Have a good day.
It was then that their company commander saw something he had never seen before.
About a year later, we came back out of Iraq through Shannon, Ireland again. Same place, 2 in the morning refueling stop, and happened to see a little bit of a hurling match on a TV screen there by the bar. And you know, it was, a bunch of us said, well, what is that? What is that sport?
Come on, boys, get it right! We keep going now, boys, till you get it right.
That sport was hurling. What wasn't clear was how the national sport of Ireland was going to make a difference to a group of soldiers in New Hampshire.
All right, boys, let's go. Bring it in. Except for you, Laurie, take your time.
When Charlie Company, 3rd of the 172nd Mountain Infantry, returned to New Hampshire from their deployment to Iraq in 2005, it didn't take long for life to return to business as usual. For First Sergeant Lore Ford, that meant his position as the senior NCO in the 237th Military Police Company. For Warrant Officer Luke Kolodish, it was returning to his job in public affairs. And for then Captain, now Colonel, Ray Vallis, it meant returning to life as the International Affairs Officer for New Hampshire.
It was a National Guard deployment. When you come back, guys go to the 4 winds. People go all over the place. And so it was kind of the last time that we were all together, but in that isolated environment of being just a unit together. We need something that's like a central point for the guys that deployed together, like sort of a rallying point, something that guys could participate in or get together without being a once-a-year reunion or something like that, that, you know, maybe it's hit or miss, or just a group of guys going out to a bar or something like that. We wanted something a little more tangible, but we also wanted an outlet that was healthy, something that was physical, you know, something positive, and something that even if you weren't physically playing, you could still support the team in other ways. Hurling originated about 2,000 years ago, they think, based on archaeological evidence. And the way the sport started was as a way for Celtic chieftains to train their warriors. And they would play a hurling match for days long. And they would swing the hurley, which is the stick, shaped somewhat like a war club or an axe. And it was training for warriors for battle. And that's the origin of the sport. So something with that resonated with us being soldiers. And it made it easier kind of to hook guys into coming and trying it out. It was kind of the gut check. You know, you say, this is a warrior sport. Are you a warrior or not? You know, and then they have to come out and at least try it.
Turn. Back into the hand. All right?
You know, it was something that Colonel Vallis wanted to do and Sergeant Clements wanted to do to kind of keep the unit together. You know, something that, especially in the National Guard, everybody sort of drifts apart, and, you know, once you're back from deployment. So he wanted something to bring them together, to, you know, kept trying to get me to do it, and at first I assumed it was a big joke, and he's a bit of a practical joker, so I assumed I was going to get out there with a stick and get some pictures taken of me, and, you know, it was going to wind up in some paper or something, looking silly.
Hurling basically started for me when we got back. Colonel Vallis had said, hey, we're gonna start a hurling team, and I was like, okay, great, let's do it. You know, I had no idea what it was, didn't really care. He was our commander while we were there, and I was his driver, so whatever he wanted to do, you know, I mean, he was a great guy, so I would have done pretty much anything that he asked.
Nice pass. That's it, Eddie. Into the hand. Come on. That's it, boys. Every time.
Because the first time you show up, it's so awkward, it's so foreign, that I didn't immediately love it when I started it. I think the first two practices I came and all I did was practice flicking the ball and trying to get into my hand and then throw it up and hit it. I don't even think I'd made solid connection with a slitter until probably like my third practice.
All right.
We all started off on equal footing, and that was the thing. If we had started an ice hockey team, say, you get half the guys have been playing since they're 3 years old. Some guys have never played. Some guys can skate but not play. You get all different levels. With hurling, we were all at square one. Everyone had to learn from the basics. And that created sort of a bond, too, because we're all in this together. We're all at the same point, and we all have to develop together as players in this new sport. So that was part of the lure of selecting hurling to start a team.
I think you make a big progression quickly in the sport as you start, you know, as a beginner, having never played before. You get some of the basic skills down, and once you do that, you start to really enjoy it and like it. And then you suddenly realize you're not that good. And then to get to that next level, it takes a lot of work and many years that, you know, I'd probably, I mean, I'll never get there. And maybe if my kids grew up playing it their whole life, they might start to get there. But, I mean, when you see the Irish play, like, and realize how good they are, that, you know, I could practice every day from now, and I wouldn't be as good as they are.